This video is how to remove the automatic transmission from a 98 Honda Accord 4-cylinder. It's almost the same for all the 6th generation Accords. First, loosen the wheel lug nuts and put the car in neutral. Disconnect the battery. Remove the battery base. Remove the intake air duct. Cover the intake to block dust. I used a glove and a rubber band. Raise the vehicle and make sure it is securely supported. Remove the drain plug and drain the ATF. Reinstall the drain plug with a new sealing washer. Remove the starter cables and harness clamps, and remove the breather tube and radiator hose from their clamps. Remove the transmission ground cable and disconnect the connectors from the clutch pressure control solenoid valves A and B, main shaft speed sensor, and third clutch pressure switch. Then, remove the harness clamps from the clamp brackets. Disconnect the torque converter clutch solenoid. Remove the ATF cooler hoses from the cooler lines and plug them up. I used paper towels. Disconnect the shift solenoid valve B and C connectors and remove the harness clamp from the bracket. A couple bad camera angles here, sorry about that. Disconnect the countershaft speed sensor and remove the harness clamp. Remove the transmission range switch connector from the clamp bracket, then disconnect it. Disconnect the second clutch pressure switch. It's way back around here, hard to reach. Use a long screwdriver to help you. Remove the rear stiffener. Remove the transmission housing bolts, 3 here in the front and 1 hidden back in there. Remove the front mount bracket bolts. Remove the splash shield. Now we move on to the suspension. Remove the cotter pins and castle nuts. Remove the damper forks, 1 bolt on top and 1 on bottom. Separate the ball joints. Remove the 2 bolts securing the radius rods. Make a reference mark across the front beam and rear beam on both sides. This will help you line it up when you put it back in. There's this brake line or something that's clamped in here that needs removed. It's not in the Helms manual. Remove the front beam. Another brake line here that needs disconnected, as well as the connector for the O2 sensor. Those should have been done earlier. Now remove the front beam. Pry the drive shafts out of the differential. Look, if you got the tools and ability, I would just go ahead and take the right side CV axle all the way out. It was a serious pain in my ass, and it got in the way later on when I was dropping the transmission. Do it if you can and want, but it's not technically necessary. Coat all the precision finished surfaces with clean engine oil, then tie plastic bags over the drive shaft ends. I just poured oil in the bags and coated them that way. Remove the engine stiffener. Remove the bolts securing the shift cable holder, then remove the shift cable cover. In that order. Remove the lock bolt securing the control lever. It's dark in this shot, but there's a couple tabs to bend up and then you can take the bolt out. Remove the shift cable with the control lever. Remove the 8 drive plate bolts. Lift and support the engine. Place the transmission jack under the transmission. Remove the transmission mount bracket. Remove the rear mount bracket bolts. 2 bolts, unless you got a 01 or 02 model, and then there's 2 more. Now, I tried prying the transmission away from the engine, but I figured out there was one more bolt the manual didn't tell me about. It's hidden up in here, kinda behind the oil filter. I had to use this conglomeration of swivels and extensions just to reach it. Now the transmission comes off nice and easy. So I'll pull it away from the engine until it clears the dowel pins, and then lower it on the jack. Remove the torque converter assembly. Remove the starter. And that's it.